So in this video, what I like to do is go over two questions that may be difficult as I was browsing this book. So the first question we're going to look at is question number 78 on the last exam, which is exam number 5. And the question reads, a circle is inscribed in a square. What is the probability that a penny, if thrown, will fall in the shaded region below? So it's a probability. I automatically know that I will have to go ahead, divide something by something, right? What is that something by something? What is the probability if thrown? If we throw a penny, that it will be landed on the shaded region. So I know that I have to basically get my fraction, which is the shaded region over the whole region, right? The whole region is this entire thing over here. And of course, the shaded region are these four little parts over here. So I know immediately what I'm looking for, right? So what is the shaded region, right? What do I find out how do I find out the value? Unfortunately, this question didn't give you what the radius is equal to, or what the diameter is equal to, or what the area or what the circumference is. So right off the back, this question may look difficult. And in fact, what you have to do is basically say, you know what? I have no value, right? There is no value. All I know that this r is my radius, and this r is unknown. So go ahead and go with that, because there's nothing else you can do, right? So I know r is my radius, and I know, so my radius is r, and I know my diameter is 2r. Okay, and what are we going to try to do? Well, let's go ahead and try to find the whole region first, because that's easier, right? I know the whole region is this entire thing, and I also know that this is a square, right? So if it's a square, all I have to do is find out the diameter, right? If I find out the diameter, I know that this is the value of the diameter. This is the value of the diameter. Well, I know my diameter is 2r, right? Because it's just r times 2, which is 2r. So if my diameter is 2r, that means that my side is also 2r. That means if this side is 2r, of course, all other sides are 2r. And how do I find the area of a square? Very simple. 2r times 2r. And what do you get? You get something that's equal to 4r squared. So I know that this entire thing over here, this entire figure, is equal to 4r squared. So automatically I know that my whole region is equal to 4r squared. And now all I'm left is to find out the shaded region, okay? Now how do you approach this kind of problem when you have to find out the shaded region? Well, I know this entire area is equal to 4r squared. Well, if I subtract 4r squared by the area of the circle, then I should get the remaining shaded areas left. So how do I do that? Well, how do I find out the area of the area of the circle, sorry. So I know my radius is equal to r, and I know the formula is pi r squared. So r is r, right? R squared, so it's just pi r squared. Now what do I have to do? 4r squared is the entire value subtracted by pi r squared. So if I subtract this entire value from this, I should be left with my shaded region, and that will give me my shaded region all over the whole region, which is 4r squared, right? And now I can actually go ahead and make it more simple and say, well, you know what? I have r squared here, I have r squared here. I can just simply take it out and make it more simple and say this is 4 minus pi, right? Because 4 times r squared is 4r squared, minus pi times r squared is pi r squared, all over 4r squared, okay? You want to try and make your life simpler. Why did I do that? Because I know I can immediately cross this off, right? R squared and r squared cancels out. What are you left with? You're left with 4 minus pi over 4, okay? Now, once again, let's look at the answer choice. Obviously, there is no answer choice because you can go ahead and simplify this further, right? I know that I can separate these two fractions into 4 over 4 minus pi over 4, and I know 4 over 4 is just 1, so I'm simply left with 1 minus pi over 4, which is answer choice J. So this is a bit of a tricky question. Make sure you understand how to do this problem. Now let's go ahead and take a look at another difficult question. So let's take a look at question number 81. Sarah is stuck in a circular field. Okay, so she's stuck in a circular field. She knows that the area of the circular field is 100 square meters. Okay, so the area of this circular field is 100 square meters. She walks at a speed of 10 meters per minute. Okay, so her speed is 10 meters per minute. How long will it take her to walk from one end of the circular field? Okay, so let's just pick any end, right? So here's one end. To the other end, assuming she must cross through the center. So here's the key words. She must cross through the center. So she's not going like this. She has to pass through the center, right? She has to basically go from here to here. So she's crossing the center, and basically we want to find the diameter, right? If we find out what the diameter is, this is what we're trying to solve for, right? How long will it take her to walk from one end of the circular field to the other end, assuming she must cross through the center? And we know that she walked at a speed of 10 meters per minute. So if we know the diameter, we can divide by her speed to see how long it will take her to actually walk. Well, let's see. How do we actually know the diameter? Once again, we're not really given the value of a diameter or radius, but we are given actually something. We are given that the area of the circular field is 100 square meters. Well, what's the formula for area of a circle? Pi r squared. So I know that pi r squared in this case is equal to 100 square meters, right? And now I'm trying to essentially find for the diameter, right? But I can't find the diameter here. The only thing I can find out is the radius. Okay, good enough. How do you find the radius? Well, divide by pi, and I'm left with r squared is equal to 100 over pi. And if I want to find that for the radius, I simply will go ahead and square root both sides. R is equal to square root of 100 over pi. Now, this doesn't really help me much, right? I have my radius, but I want to find out my diameter. What do? Well, in order to find out the diameter, you simply multiply the radius by 2. So I'll multiply both sides by 2. So I'll get the 2 times r, which is d basically. Essentially, the diameter is equal to 2 to the square root of 100 pi. So now we know the diameter, okay? But so what's the last step we have to do? I know that this is the distance I have to walk, basically. Here's the distance that I have to walk, and I know that Sarah is walking at a speed of 10 meters per minute, okay? So the units really don't matter over here because they're consistent over here, but the answer choices aren't giving you units. So I simply will divide by her speed, which is 10 meters per minute, and what do I get? Well, what is 2 square root of 100 pi over 10? Hopefully you know how to simplify, or not simplify but divide two fractions. That becomes what? Hopefully you know that I can, in order to divide this fraction by this fraction, I can pretend that there's a 1 over here, and I just will multiply the 2 square root of 100 over pi times, and I will take the reciprocal of the second fraction over here, 1 over 10, which will give me just, what, 2 square root of 100 over 10 pi. So 2 square root of 100 over 10 pi. And now I can reduce this to 1/5, right? So 1/5 square root of 100 pi. And this, of course, the pi is under the 100. And if I go back to my answer choice, I don't really see an answer choice like that. But hopefully you know that 1/5 is equivalent to 0.2, right? 1/5 is 0.2 square root of 100 over pi. And that is your answer. It will take her this value to basically essentially cross over from one side of the circle all the way to the other side, assuming she crosses the center. So there you go. That's how you do question number 81. Thanks for watching the video. Please be sure to check out our book on Amazon. It's a specialized high school test prep book. This book comes with 5 full-length exams with answer explanations along with a manual to go ahead and better prepare you for the exam. You will find the link on the video or in the description above. Have fun studying.